Nobody's got your link right now.
I'm gonna get. First of all, I sent it to you. Yeah, I'm gonna connect to that link also.
Yeah, that's the main one that was sent out. Let me see, hold on. I'll tell you which is the main one that was sent out.
Okay, we're officially live.
But no one has that link.
20 people are watching it right now. Yeah.
You see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Audio, I can connect. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't have the. Oops.
Hold on.
Tell him I'm gonna connect it right now. I'm on.
Hold on. There's someone here. He said he's gonna connect it right now.
Me too. Yeah. Business.
Oh.
So, is it streaming right or no? So you've got.
This is on you know.
We're working on it right now. Yeah. The person who's supposed to be doing the stream. It's like this.
Yeah, that's why.
They're gonna fix it. They're gonna fix it. Okay, there's the internet. It's right now. I don't know which one.
Waiting till someone starts speaking. Give us, hopefully by 10:50 continue. Come back up to 10. That's not it. That's what he did. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Where is it? You have that one? These two has one. That's what I'm saying. Everybody seems to yeah, and it's to develop. What's the week we have? All right. Okay. So let me just the microphone here.
We thought that this day would arrive. We're here to the Hesped Mar, the bitter eulogy for Shena Leah Bas Yehuda Zerach. This is Sharon Shenker. We're going to start with Psalms and hear from some close speakers, close members, friends of the Mishpacha. I want to thank Rabbi for opening up his shul. Rebbetzin here for everybody. We're going to call on Mordechai Levin, the Rosh Hashiva, the Tel Hashiva, to say chapter 1 in the Tehillim.
Asher Yisrael Alach Matas Asher V'derech Atayim Lo Yamod Moshe Leitzim Lo Yoshav Kiyim B'Seir Tadei Chaptzei B'Seir Asay Yagei Mamol Lo Ylo V'Hoyo Kei Shosu Apagim Ayim Asher Piro Yitei B'Toy V'Olei Lo Yibol B'Chol Asher Yasei Yatzliach V'Licheno Yishayim Kiyim Kamoitz Asher Tidfeno Ruach Al Kim Lo Yakum Rishayim B'Mishpat V'Chatoyim B'Adas Tzadikim Ki Yedei Adonai Derech Tzadikim V'Derech Rishayim Tevei.
Yes, Rabbi Rebbetzin, say Kapitel 15, chapter 15.
Mizmor David Adonai Miyagur Miyahalecha Mishkain Bahar Kodshecha Hoylech Tamim Upoyel Tzedek V'Doiver Emes Bilbabai Lo Yuagal Al Nishainoi Lo Yotza B'Rehura V'Chel Palo Nosal Kroibai Nibze V'Einot Nimas V'Zirei Adonai Yechabei Nishbal Rav Lo Yamir Kaspoiler Nasa Menashech B'Shoich Adon Naki Lo Yilakach Oyisei Lo Yimait Roilam.
Yes, I'll be great to say chapter 23.
Mizmor David Adonai Lo Yirei Lo Yachzor V'dais Deshe Yabitzein Yamei Menuchos V'Nameini Nafshi Yishay Be'ev Yancheni B'Maglei Tzedek L'Ma'am Shemai Gam Ki Elef B'Geit V'Alopes Lo Yiravo Ki Atoi Modi Shivtecho Mishantecho Hema Yinachemuni Tarech L'Fadai Shulchan Neged Tzedek Die stand am Schengen Roshi Kaisel, wo ich auf zwei Bechesed Telefoni konnte mich heilen. Ich habe sie beweist, dass du neu liegst, Junge.
John Taylor, say Yishivcha.
Ich das Heil lieben zu haben, so ich mit Leben mit neu. Gott hat Gott lebt ein Wort. Bishalom, B'Yatzor, L'Yasu, T'Lev, L'Yro, Kol Yimei Paniyahu. Doctrine said, Tish, L'Metas, B'Tepes, Tapehu. V'Yisov, V'Yis, Soited, V'Mechot, V'Mechot. V'Tokam, V'Yai, V'Yai, V'Titain, Terem, V'Yisov, V'Yai, V'Yai, Zaman Masa, V'Yati, Kochego, V'Yai, Chapehu, V'Yai, All Rabbi Yis, Masnevo, V'Yati, Ameis, V'Yai, Well, monkey type stuff, probably get that, but like, no, the whole show, I think, sure. The content was on to public. Couple tours, so they only we got them, shows, like you in Leipzig, based on you saw the whole base of the bush, so the Margadim was a solo, shades, we are the one who saw. Like the Basho, by law, the ship done music, the artists. So did also saw Batim for Hamburg, Basho, Batani. Always we were down to Busho, Batis, we are even. He of course got it off more, this was last said, I'll be sure. Say for your happy toys, but so the left and that's this place like it. Oh, God, never, by your absolute law, by the law. Rabbi's bonus of the family at home is of London of Shetland at the end of the other by your feet. He showed your ass at the is how to do law with your devil. We have a group of us, master.
Please be seated. Please silence your phones. Unbelievable showing of honor, covered afro to Mrs. Sharon Shenker, Shana Leah, Rabbi Shenker. Extend our great sadness to the Mishpachas, Shenker family, the Gold family. Many people flew in. The family is overwhelmed by the kindness of this gorgeous community, and indeed the worldwide community. So many prayers, so many mitzvos, deep thoughts, kindnesses, new commitments. Everybody in this room must know nothing is in vain. You have pushed Sharon's neshama higher and higher. Nothing is in vain. The purpose of this gathering is to give glory, Yikra Deshachve, to give glory to the neshama, who, the soul whom we all are, but to give kavod, honor to the soul who hears and understands and is with us. And for us, v'hachai yitein alibo yikra dechayai, the honor for those that are alive and to think and to introspect. V'hachai yitein alibo. In Song of Songs, chapter 6, Ana holech dodech hayafa banashim, Ana pana dodech univakshe imach. Where has your beloved gone, O you most beautiful among women? Where has your beloved turned? Dodi yorad legano larugos abosem liros vagonim velilko shoshanim. My beloved has gone down into the garden, to the beds of spices, to pasture in the gardens, and to gather roses, velilko shoshanim. Says the Medrash in this beautiful metaphor that King Solomon wrote, Dodi ze HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Dodi is Hashem, is God. Ligano, the gardens, Ha'olam, that's this world. La'arugos habosem, the bed of spices, that's us, the Jewish people. Liros baganim, to pasture in the gardens, that's the synagogues and the study halls. Belilko shoshanim, and to pick the roses. To pick the roses means to take the tzaddikim, to take the righteous. To take the righteous. And the Medrash continues and says the difference between the demise of the elderly and the demise of the young is that the visas, the kanim, is yafelo v'yafel psila. It's good for the person and it's good for the world. And when somebody is young that passes away, it's so difficult for them, and it's so difficult for the world. But then the Medrash continues, and the Medrash says that when Rabbi Bon died, and Rabbi Zera came to give him a eulogy, and he said, "Netuka sheina sa'ovei." The sleep of the worker is so sweet. Said Rabbi Zera, who is this Rabbi Bon? He died a young man. A king had a vineyard and he hired workers. And there was one worker that worked harder than anybody else. And he saw that this worker was extremely industrious. The king grasped his hand and began taking long and short strolls. As the evening came, the workers came to collect their wages. And the king gave the workers who were working the whole day wages, and the king gave wages to that one worker just like the others. And they began to complain. But we, the king, we worked the whole day and they worked for an hour or two or three, and that worker is collecting wages like us. And the Melech said, "Ma ken mitzirim? What are you complaining about? Yoga zed b'shtayim or b'shalom shows. What this worker did in 2 or 3 hours, the amount of work that they put in the 2 or 3 hours, you didn't accomplish. Kol hayom kulo. You didn't accomplish it the entire day." Who was Rebbetzin Sharon Shenker? Was she a wonderful wife who lived in complete partnership with the Rabbi Motti, forging their own unique arrangement of how to run a Jewish home, an exemplar of complementary personalities of greatness? Was she a mother of 5 beautiful children whom she loved individually with special time for each one, understanding and reveling in their unique personalities and Ari's Torah and Leora's pioneering spirit and Naphtali's notes and Bela's fashion and Abraham's energy? Was she a dynamic teacher who taught and taught thousands of women of all ages on Shabbosim and during the week, on Zoom, on the bus, on the plane, and shared a powerful message that the pathway to Hashem begins with identifying the royalty within? Was she a loyal and super fun friend? When she spoke to you, you were her only. A brilliant Mikareves who knew how to bring so many Jews closer, exposing hundreds of moms to the beauty of brachos, of blessings, of chesed, of kindness, of midos. A fantastic trip organizer who co-ran hugely popular, super inspiring trips there to Israel. An out-of-box therapist who in a very short span helped so many different people overcome their anxieties to lead happier lives. An impactful college teacher who gave over hashkafa and halacha, philosophy and Jewish law in an exquisitely relatable way. A woman who even before her unbearably painful illness lived in pain often and yet embraced the discomfort in order to live for the other. A kind Bas Yisrael, daughter of Israel, who exuded authentic love and was reciprocated in kind. A real person who was not afraid to share when appropriate her vulnerabilities. Who was she? She was all of the above, and I want to thank the many women who helped me prepare this hesped. I'm just speaking your words. She had a thought-out plan for her life, and she lived it to the fullest. She was hardworking. She lived for others, and she taught others how to live. My wife said so beautifully, Sharon exuded vitality and genuineness. She was real. Her every word was a caress. Listen to what one student of hers, one Talmid of so many said. And that Tehillim group, that if I spent an hour or two, if there was an hour or two that you didn't look at it, there's another 700 messages of another 2-3 times that the Tehillim was said. Mi ka'amcha Yisrael, who is like the Jewish people. Listen to what one of the Talmidos, one of the students writes. How is this even real? My heart is broken, but I have never felt stronger. My soul is empty, but has never been more full. Sharon changed so many people's lives, and I know will continue to do so. In many ways, she saved me. She taught me how to live my life, how to love and allow myself to be loved. Before I went on the Momentum trip in 2016, I thought I lost my light. Sharon showed me that it was still there, that I just needed to kindle the light, make it brighter to shine as much on the outside as on the inside. And another Talmida writes that when I wasn't thrilled about wearing the sheitel wig, I remember Sharon would say, we are queens, and it's our crown. You recognize those words. It was real. It was inspiring, especially when it was tough to wear one of my own. A friend and a student said, when I was scheduling my son's bar mitzvah, before I asked my parents if they were available, I called up Sharon because I knew that if she would be there, the party would be amazing. She was funny and quirky, all in the service of the Ribono Shel Olam. When teaching how to give the benefit of the doubt, she related maybe the wedding invitation was sent, but you have to look at the other possibility. Maybe the mailman never delivered it because he needed to wipe his nose on the invitation. You never know. Creative. The Shenker shuffle at the end of the meal that you have to meet a new person. Wise. Chachmas isha baisa besa. Listen to this wisdom. Listen to this wisdom. I wash, you dry. Share the load. Have no expectations, and you will never be disappointed. Be the kind of person your spouse and children want to come home to. The busiest people always have time for others. Don't wait for anyone's green light to help. When you're at a simcha, just help where it's needed. Give to give with no expectations. And finally, listen to this unbelievable chachma, wisdom. Everyone you meet is in chapter 2. You don't know chapter 1. You never know what happened to someone before they hurt you. Hurt people hurt people. And even if you're hurting, you can be the first one to stop the cycle and be kind first. You can control your reactions and actions to someone else. It doesn't take anything from you to be kind anyway. Let go anyway. Let go of anger so we can let go of you. In 1996, Sharon won a raffle ticket to Eretz Yisrael that helped her begin her journey to Isha Torah. and ultimately to a career of massive hashpa'ah, positive influence. She might have won the trip, but Klal Yisrael won the lottery. Sharon was a neshama who taught us how to access our neshama. She is still a neshama. She is still a neshama. The pain is great, but let us remember her essential lessons. And more than that, let us live those essential lessons. May Hashem destroy death forever. May He wipe away all the tears. I'd like to ask Rabbi Markman, longtime friend of the family, Executive Director of HLA, to share words.
I hope I do justice for Sharon. This is for her. Her career began at HLA on April 1st, 2006. So we've had her for 17 years. And anecdotally, I know we're here for Sharon, but I've noticed that great Rebbetzins have great husbands. And I know that Rabbi Motti, in his humility and being low-key, sometimes, invisible out of the spotlight, reveals his greatness and what Sharon became. And you see it in their beautiful children with their sterling qualities, and the Almighty protect them. Sharon came to HLA 17 years ago, and my good friend Naftali Schiff, who's here today, who ran HUK, still ran HUK, and many other things. He called me up from England and he said, "Do you realize who you have in the branch?" And I said, "The Shenkers?" He goes, "Yes, you have Sharon Shenker. She's my superstar. And she's going to be a superstar for you. You will see." That was an understatement. Sharon was in her own league, with her own vocabulary and her own way of doing things. It'd be the end of a long day, and I'd be going home, and all of a sudden, the building began to shake, and I would hear something approaching me with energy and a whirlwind, a human tornado. And she'd come bounding up the stairs. Her office was on 3 levels, and you'd hear her getting closer and closer, and her voice and the phone pressed into her ear, saying, "Yes, my son," crying, and she'd be giving some piece of wisdom, or she'd be listening, or she'd be laughing, and she'd look at her watch and say, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go." She'd hang up on the person, and she'd turn to me, and she'd say, "I have a class on Zoom in 5 minutes for an hour. I don't know what I'm going to teach about." So, being both of us students of Reb Noach Weinberg, we just began to jam back and forth, throwing ideas around, and all of a sudden Sharon would say, "I got it." "You got what?" "I got it." And that was all she needed. That one idea crystallized everything for her. She had a zillion classes in her head. She just needed to start somewhere. And then she'd be off and on the Zoom, and you'd hear her, complete control, command of the class. It was artistry at work. And she was never afraid to ask for advice. She was such a truth seeker. And she was such an idealist. And it was fantastic working with her and hearing her ideas and her positivity and her excitement. I took all that for granted for 17 years. That was just Sharon. That was Sharon. There's no one like her. And her job, at Aish was all-encompassing. It used every God-given talent that she had. She found her calling. You know, people could spend their entire lives looking for their role in life and their purpose. And Sharon had found her so early on. And that's why she was so happy. And that's why she could share it, because Sharon was Sharon all the way, using everything she had. She used all her potential. And she knew her strengths. And with her humility, she also knew her limits. And she knew her educational material. And she knew her audience. And she knew how to deliver and lead them two together. And it would be good for everybody. And she had such great confidence in what she did. And she confided in me. She goes, I know I'm good. At the same time, she was open to new ideas, and she wanted to hear everything. So especially if you began a sentence with Rav Noach Weinberg said, or Rabbi Yitzhak Berkowitz said, she'd stop at her tracks. But to be truthful, you mentioned any Torah personage, and she would listen to what they had to say, because maybe she could put it into her next class or next idea. And when you saw her talking to students, she had that look in her eye of, I got this. I got this. I know this person. I know what they want. And I know that the Torah has an answer for them. And I'm going to show it. I'm going to show them that what they're looking for is really in all of the Torah. And I would joke with Sharon that I can imagine her at 2 a.m. on her trips to Israel, roaming the hallways, looking for anyone to speak to connect with, to laugh with. She was irrepressible. She was entertainment in her own right. And she was fearless, going up to anybody, talking to them about anything at any time. In fact, that was her oxygen. And she made everybody feel like you were her best friend. And she made everybody feel special. And she had a compliment for everybody. And I must say, I would cheat sometimes and call Sharon up. You know, how's it going? How's the programming going? Just because I wanted a jolt of her lightning and what she had to say. And you never knew what Sharon was going to say. And the JWI program, which so many of you are here today, it's really impressive that you're here. And it's such a testimony to what Sharon accomplished and will accomplish for the years to come. That she just loved the meetings with the moms, as she would say. I met a great mom today. And she would call me up and say, I met a great mom today. She was amazing. She's going to be on our trip. Let me tell you about it. And do you have 5 minutes? And I say, well, okay. But then the next day, this is during interview season. For the trip, she would call me up and say, I met our most amazing mom today. You got to hear about this first. Okay. The next day, I met the most amazing person. Sharon saw everybody as amazing. Some more amazing than others, but she saw everybody as amazing. And she loved everybody, and she saw the good in everybody, but she wasn't naive. And she gave people what they needed. And she saw all of us as souls. And it was special for us too. She knew her dynamic, though, I must say, I've never seen anything like this. The dynamic that she had with Rebbetzin and Hannah Heller. To watch the two of them. The yin and yang, how they complemented each other, hand in glove. It was a seamless teamwork. I wonder if I'll ever see that again. And no wonder the program took off. And continuously it kept expanding. And it outgrew the two of them, because the Almighty said, that's what I want. That's what I want to see two people doing. And they had to employ and find a cadre of teachers to keep up with the women coming through the door. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And she understood HLA's group dynamics. Our staff is like probably all Jewish nonprofit staffs. I'll leave it at that. She would have to hold back during our meetings to not turn it into group therapy. And sometimes I really knew I was into it. We were going to discuss some difficult issues. And I would call Sharon up and say, like, how do I land this plane? And she would give me strategy. And in one meeting, though, I was so desperate where it was going. And I texted Sharon in the middle of the meeting. And Sharon texted me back. And we're sitting 10 feet apart from each other. And she would say to me, I wouldn't say it like that, Ari. Don't say it's the craziest idea you've ever heard. Why don't you instead say, on second thought, there's genius in what you say. Let me think about it for a minute. Or she would text, show more empathy. She had diplomacy. And sometimes I would say, can you say this in the meeting? And she would, because one person's an opinion, but two people's a mandate. And so she was my ally. And she was so much fun to be around. There was never a dull moment. And how generous she was with her time, and how much the Shenkers opened up their home, and how many Shabbos guests they took. It was so important to the success of what we were doing here in LA. And so people ask me, where did all those prayers go? And all that Tehillim, all those prayer groups, where did it go? It went into their children. It's going to be with us forever. And the family should only go stronger because of this. So I'm going to close with a story. And it's about how to take Sharon with us for the rest of our lives, and how to pass it down to our families and to everyone we know. And sometimes all we just need is anyone, to believe in us and give us a little reassurance that will change our lives. And that could change our lives. So this past September, I was deciding in Elul between running two programs. I didn't know which way to go. One, and Sharon was not so well at this point and was not coming to work, but I would call her now and then for advice. She had a take on things that was beyond. And I said, on one hand, Sharon, I have a very risky program, but it's got a big upside. And I can do a safer program with less work and much less impact. And Sharon, who knows what drug she was on, who knows how much pain she was in, said, oh, go for the biggie. Do the more difficult, risky program. And then she said the words that I carry with me the rest of my life. You can do it, Rabbi. And that's all I needed to hear. Because Sharon, she was our Churchill. I can still hear her voice in my head saying, you can do it. And that's what I want to say to Rabbi Motti, Aryeh, Leora, Tali, Bela, Avraham, and Sharon's parents, Sandra and Gerald, and her sister Adele, and all of us gathered here today. When you need that little push and that little affirmation from somewhere, then hear that British accented voice with that big smile saying to you with so much confidence and so much belief in you, you can do it. Sharon, we can do it, and we will do it. And you did it. Sharon, you did it all.
Uncle David Winter to speak on behalf of the family.
On behalf of her mother, Sandra, Sharon was many things: a beautiful daughter, a loving sister, a niece, an auntie, a cousin, a wife to her beloved Motti, a mom to her gorgeous children, who were her pride and joy, a daughter-in-law, a counselor, a friend, and still had time to help everyone she met. She was a force of nature, a shining star. But 2 days ago, that horrible disease took her and left us all heartbroken. As a family, we were all so proud of the woman she became, and now she leaves us in a huge void. However, if you knew Sharon, she'd find the plus within all of this. She'd smile and say something to make us all feel better. So, for Sharon, our Shana, remember her in life with a smile, a hug, with laughter, and her motto: live, love, and laugh. On behalf of her sister Adele, there are just too many stories about growing up with Sharon. It's probably more the last 25 years I remember most clearly, like coming over for Zach's bar mitzvah or our grandma's 90th birthday. The many conversations we had, which intended to turn into therapy sessions. Growing up, we shared a bedroom and played together, although she was into football and messy rooms and not wanting her hair brushed. But she was also the Pied Piper. Everyone else followed her. Even at that age, she had the ability to make everyone feel comfortable. Her smile was infectious. She wanted everyone to smile. Even in the middle of the night, when I would wake her because I heard a noise downstairs, she would go and investigate every time. Just like when we sneaked the cookies from the cookie jar, she looked out for Mom and I would sneak the cookies first. Family meant everything. We would go to Grandma Marion's for Shabbos dinner. Sharon would sneak off with Laura, our first cousin, and get up to mischief in the little room. Sharon would work all hours, but still find time to call Grandma. Her family in London missed her, but she would be kept up to date on all the news. My sister was able to generate love without being in the room. She was an inspiration, wanting to help everyone. Her love and strength was contagious. Walking down the street next to her, you would think she was a celebrity. She was. I was the lucky one who first knew about Motti. I would get the calls in the middle of the night updating me. I remember their wedding like yesterday. Sharon and Motti epitomized the fairy tale. The strongest marriage I've known to date. Along with their gorgeous children, theirs is a family of unity, love, laughs, and strength. And I know this will continue. They have a piece of Sharon in their hearts. And Motti, you know how I feel about you. You are a truly amazing husband, father, son, uncle, and brother-in-law. To end, in recent years, Sharon and I would talk shop. With her role and mine as a teacher, we would often compare notes and would put the world to right. One of my fondest and now long-lasting memory was in July just gone. Sharon was doing well with her treatment, and we went for a coffee whilst Natalia went shopping, so we knew we had hours. It was sister talk. It was probably the deepest conversation we've ever had, and now I will continue to ask for her guidance. What would Sharon do? It is not how much or how little you have made it, that makes you great or small. but how much or how little you have accomplished what you have. Sharon, my best friend and sister, your legacy lives on. You will never be forgotten. And so, so loved, a part of my life for 45 precious years.
Yes, we told Heather, longtime friend, the Shenker family, speak was on behalf of the Rebbetzin.
I'd like to share some of the thoughts that my wife Hannah wrote on behalf of Sharon, her partner, who together founded and built the Jewish Women's Initiative here. It's a program of HLA. I met Sharon the first day she moved to Los Angeles to work for H in 2006. We were going to be working together in our young professional division. We went out for a walk to get acquainted. I remember saying to myself, this is going to be a real adventure. You could say it was love at first sight. Sharon's warm personality and zest for life drew me to her immediately. For 4 years, we worked with young professionals before embarking on a whole new adventure with Sharon, devoted herself selflessly and wholeheartedly. In 2010, we took 18 moms on a pilot trip to Israel within an organization called Momentum, whose core belief is in the power of Jewish moms to transform our world. The next year, we took a full bus of 46 LA moms on this transformative journey, some unaffiliated, but most from Reform and conservative communities. It was upon our return that we decided to start a new division at AISH to service what we called the forgotten demographic, Jewish moms. Sharon was all in. She understood the need. Who's taking care of our moms? And even though Sharon was often younger than many of our moms, she was a mommy to them, nurturing them spiritually and emotionally. She understood that the future of the Jewish people depends upon strong, educated, and inspired moms. If mom is not interested in Judaism, she knew that Judaism is not happening in the home. Sharon was co-founder and co-director of the Jewish Women's Initiative, JWI, of HLA, as I mentioned. She was passionate about giving moms the tools they need to bring the joy of being Jewish to their families. She worked nonstop, planning programs, trips, social events, and Shabbatons. She taught and she mentored. Together, we took over 500 amazing Jewish moms on life-changing trips, many of whom have stayed connected and learning with Sharon for years after the Israel journey. So many of them are here today. And we are collectively devastated by this tremendous loss. The outpouring of love for Sharon from JW moms has been overwhelming. I attribute so much of the success of JWI to Sharon. Who didn't want to be around Sharon? For the moment she enveloped you in her bear hug, you knew you were going to be loved. From the moment she asked you about your life, you knew you were not going to be judged. From the moment you attended her first class, you knew you'd be coming back for more. Sharon had a way of transmitting Jewish ideas and values which was so easy to listen to and assimilate. And she was a great storyteller. She loved taking women around Jerusalem, showing them all the sights and sounds and tastes she loved. Her love of Israel, the Jewish people, and Judaism was so palpable, and it was so infectious. Sharon was an incredible entertainer. Put her on the mic on the tour bus in Israel, and she was in her element, dropping pearls of wisdom, telling the funniest jokes, and calling everyone up to share their inspiring moments of the day. Even though Sharon was young enough to be my daughter, I never considered her anything but a peer. She had wisdom and insight into people beyond her years. When she went back to school a few years ago to become a licensed therapist, I knew she had a great future in helping others navigate their struggles. I had an occasion to actually see Sharon in action. This happened in Israel. One evening in Israel, as we were about to enter our hotel, a cab pulled up and 3 Israeli moms, ex-IDF officers who were part of the trip, spilled out looking shell-shocked. They had been in Machne Yehuda when gunshots were heard. There were mobs of people trying to get out of the market, fearing the worst, but thankfully, it was not a terrorist attack. One of the women was clearly suffering from an anxiety attack, and I watched as Sharon sat these women down on the front steps of the hotel, spoke to them, comforted them, calmed them with so much skill and so much love. Here she was, the American tourist, taking care of ex-Israeli army officers. It was really something to witness. Sharon could talk to anybody. She was interested in everybody and everybody's life. You could be waiting in line with her, sitting next to her on the plane, or washing your hands in the ladies' room. She always had something nice to say and something complimentary. She loved getting to know the kids of our JWI moms. She would stay after classes and schmooze with any of the kids who were still up. They were all drawn to her. Sharon knew how to make people feel important and seen. I used to call Sharon the mayor of Alcott Street. She would sit in her front yard on Shabbos afternoon with her kids and was a magnet for the families to join her. She knew most everybody on the block and their stories and many of their struggles, Jews and non-Jews, it didn't matter. She knew who was struggling to have children, who you could go to if you needed your air conditioning turned on Shabbat. I was at loss when I needed someone to help with a Shabbos issue, but Sharon could take me to any one of 10 people on the block who would be happy to help. Sharon's biggest love was her family. She was so proud of her husband and children. I'm sure you know that her greatest pleasure was spending time with all of you. She truly cherished the uniqueness and beauty of each one of you. The lessons Sharon taught and the impact she had was huge. We could spend all day listening to tributes JWI moms have shared since Sharon's passing, but allow me to share a few. Sharon taught me how to live my life. She taught me to give myself grace and patience. The ability to take care of myself and take care of others is not mutually exclusive. How to love and allow myself to be loved. Before I went on the Momentum trip in 2016, I thought I lost my light. Sharon showed me that it was still there and that I just needed to kindle the light, make it brighter to shine as much on the outside as on the inside. And another, live to give without expectations. Let it go. You never know what happens to someone before they hurt you. Even if you're hurting, you can be the one to stop the cycle and be kind first. Be careful with your speech, even if you have to stop in mid-sentence. Always make people feel special, wanted, and included. Don't expect your spouse to read your mind. I have to remember that one. Greet every person with joy and warmth. Sharon personally saved my life and my marriage. I am forever grateful to you for igniting the flame inside me that was yearning to reconnect with Hashem since I was a little girl. And the last one, thank you, Sharon, for being my guide that led my soul to do great things, inspired me to look even deeper and closer within myself, to use my mind and body to do Hashem's work through me while I am still on this planet. I can only write the last sentence, which I believe is now my purpose-driven life. Because of the influence you have and have had on me, I am forever grateful to you because of it. Sharon, I'll miss you deeply. Navigating without you is huge. It's going to be so painful to do this without you by my side, but I know you will be rooting for me and all our moms, your family, and your people from a very high place in heaven. I was so blessed to walk the earth with you. All of us were so blessed to have known and loved Sharon Shenker. I know I can speak for all of the JWI teachers and the JWI moms. We will deeply miss your love, your light, your lessons, and your laughter. May all of the lessons that Sharon taught and embodied live on in her students, her family, and all her descendants.
We ask for Natalie Schiff, CEO of GISH UK and Jewish Futurist, and someone with tremendous impact on Sharon personally, Mashia and Neferes, share words, came from England.
It's okay, I'm not going to read the whole book. But I was, thank you, Rabbi, for mentioning Churchill. I'll try and speak. I was going to say the Queen's English, but I guess it's the King's English now. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Rabbi, I definitely didn't say my superstar, because one of the things that I received from my father, the buyer of both of my grandfathers, when I was 15 years old. And I said, Daddy, you left the buyer. I said, Daddy, you left my father over there. And he said, no, that's not my father. That's not my father. My father's in you. My father's in each one of his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren. And the real person is the neshama, is the soul, and that's what Sharon was. Still, my father never taught me never to say mine. Sharon is our, it's all about us. Sharon is Hashem, Sharon is the neshama. It wasn't about the body, it wasn't about the externalities, it wasn't about those things. I already said in the end of the conversation, oh my God, I gotta go. Oh my God, I gotta go. So I was sitting at my desk yesterday, 5:02, and BDE, Dr. MS. Sharon, Sheena, Leah, was you the Zarach? She's gone on the final journey. The Gemara says that the reward, the purpose of a hesped, of a eulogy, is to people should cry at the eulogy. Sharon, you had to get it your way. Here I am sitting at a shul in Los Angeles and everybody's laughing. Hazaret Bedima, Berino Yixer, we say, Shamalis, if you sow with tears, you'll reap in joy. It wasn't always so easy for Sharon and for Motti. It wasn't so easy. They sowed in tears. The joy is going to be so great if the Hasidim say, Hazaret Bedima Berino, crying, whilst you're laughing while you're crying. And I can see Sharon with all of you lot laughing and crying and hugging and dancing and falling and getting up and everything all mixed up together. So this is gold. We know each other very well, even though we don't know each other. I don't remember the song, but I just remember there were 2 words in the song, and the 2 words were Sharon Gold. And Sharon, it's true, she won a raffle in 1996. We've never had a raffle with a free ticket before or after. That wasn't a joke. To help me out. 1996, and she got it. Sharon Gold got it, and then she recruited 100 people for next year's Rebbetzin fellowship program. And at the end, on the final banquet, she got up to speak. There was a big picture of Sharon behind her, and there was just this spontaneous outpouring of love and appreciation for the experience that Sharon had given everybody. And they just sang Sharon Gold, Sharon Gold, Sharon Gold. And, we're reading about Moses and Aaron, Moshe and Aaron, the greatest leaders, the Jewish people. And Moshe and his empathy for his brother was a little bit worried that he had been appointed the leader, but Aaron was older than him. Hashem said to him, don't worry, he'll see you. He'll be happy. He'll be happy in his heart. We live in a world where people don't trust each other. People don't trust people's motivations. Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's trying to manipulate something. But when somebody is genuine and when they're real, then people just want to say thank you. It's not a debt of gratitude. It's something that people want to do. People want to open up to somebody who is there for them and not there for their own ego, for their own aggrandizement. That was the relationship between Moshe and Aaron. That was the relationship I know that Sharon had with all of you, with everybody that she ever met. Maria, you said, oh my gosh, I've got to teach you 5 minutes time. What am I going to do? So I didn't know when I should speak from the heart. Well, I should actually write something down. Because when you write something down, it's something that I felt I could just speak from the heart. It'll be all over the place. My heart is broken. And our hearts are broken today. So I ran out of the office to catch a plane. Because in her life, Sharon felt I was too busy, so she didn't want to waste my time. So I thought I must come to pay my respects to Sharon Shenker. And I grabbed a book, which is a book about 20 years of the HUK, which we completed 20 years ago. And I wrote a little note in it to you, Motti, and maybe if I read that, then I'll follow a straight line. Straight line. Sharon was so straight, it was straightforward, it was simple. It was the word my name came from one heart to the other heart. There were no detours on the way. Dearest Motti, still book now, 10 years old, plus states with Sharonness, her vitality, her joie de vivre, her love of being Jewish, her yearning and aspiration to share all of this and more with others just jumps out of the pages of this book. Our greatest leader, Rabbi Moses, was chosen according to the Apostle of the Torah. He silently rose. He grew up in the palace of the king. He didn't need to care about the rest of the Jewish people. He had a good job with his father-in-law. He didn't need to take care of other things. He could, everything was okay. He went out to his brothers. No, not eight over the body. He used to meet so much. We all do, you said. Sharon was somebody who left her own comfort zone all the time to see what was with her fellow Jew. Silently rose. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu was chosen as the leader of the Jewish people. He was a chaticha of Sardiris, turning aside to see. But our teacher, Lord, 6 constant mitzvahs, here no relative, no life, none other, one Hashem, love Hashem, fear Hashem, eyes, no sasur, achim, that's the demonic, by the way, no life, not what life is about. E is for eyes. No sasur, achim, you shouldn't follow your eyes and the desires of your heart. So what's it mean? That to be a leader, Saudi Rose, so there are eyes that wander. There are eyes that cover what other people have. There are eyes that want to be more good looking, richer, cooler. Those are eyes that we don't want. There are hearts that desire what other people have, that lust and yearn. Things that are hearts that stray. But to be a leader, need to look at other people and not some Adam, the Libra and Mishra Rabbeinu was somebody who placed his eyes and his hearts for what other people wanted. Showing deep care for others, the genuine and the purity of its source, the piercing quality of its largesse was and shall remain forever palpable to all of us who are privileged to come our way. I guess maybe I just said this, we live in a world of mistrust of self and other, of people's motives, desires and aspirations. Sharon's neshama was pure, as is each of ours, yet she worked on it and allowed it to shine forth, overcoming the struggles most of us take years to fix even a little bit. She was good. She was a good one from a young age. And I can see the apples fall far from the tree. A friend of hers told me, a friend who was in school with her, told me yesterday that Sharon used to tell her friends to be quiet when they were saying emotional more about other people. She used to tell people to look for the good in the people, not to speak badly about people, even before she learned about the concept and recognized the good in others, but even before she was taught to do so. Sarah came along with a divine combination of her deep intellect and her emotional awareness. She conquered the basic desire to wander and focus all her being to purify the soul and others to recognize their only chilek, the godliness, the soul, the purity, the eternal essence that is each one of us. Sharon did this all more quickly and efficiently than most of us. I guess it didn't take long. Motti, I remember when she saw you on a shoulder and lived her shoulder with you forever. She saw that purity of the Shenkers, the purity of motive, the non-ego, and she built such a beautiful home together with you. This week's parasha, it's the first Pesach. Kabbalah, Esau says the Pesach is a Pesach, a talking mouth. We want to know how to teach our children. What do we do on Seder night? We talk. We talk. We live in a world where people are afraid to say the truth. People are afraid to say it when it hurts, and even when it's gorgeous. People just hide, Pesach. Parents don't speak to one another, parents, children, spouses. Sharon was Pesach. She spoke and she talked and she laughed and she shared. She didn't need Renee Brown to teach our ability. Sharon was sweet as sugar, sensitive, but also strong. She controlled her speech. She knew what was important in life. She was Yeshua. She was straight talking, piercingly so. Sharon was a true shaker, whose inner profound true beauty shall undoubtedly shine with blessing for your life, Motti. And for Ariel, Yoram, Tali, Bela, Ram, couple of weeks ago when Joseph sent a message to his father to come to Mitzrayim, to come down to Egypt, to join him. Yaakov stood in the morning 22 years later, but it says, Vayaris Agalos. He saw, and he didn't just see wagons, he saw the connection that they had, the connection which was a spiritual connection, a deep connection, a soulful connection, that Hirach Yaakov came alive again, when a connection with somebody is real and deep and genuine, and of the neshama and of the soul, not of designer labels, not of false cards, not of external things, but something much deeper, much more real. Vayaris Akalos, it's there forever. Hatzur Tamid Malak, Hatzur, the rock, Tamid Malak, everything Hashem does is pure. Everything he does is with justice. A faithful, loyal God. There's no injustice, there's no iniquity. Tzaddik, Yashar, righteous, Yashar, straight, integrity. A song we would always sing, starting 30 years ago. We sang all over the world now in so many of these outreach programs. Hashem. It's good to thank. People wanted to say thank you to Sharon. I know that all of you want to say thank you to Sharon, not because it's a debt of gratitude, not because it will make her feel good, but because it's Hakara Sato. It's just recognizing the source of Tov, the source of all good. To tell Hashem's kindness in the morning when the sun is shining, and your faithfulness in the nights. It's dark, and we're crying. It's so dark. No light has been dimmed. But I'm sure I shouldn't sleep without also is the end of that paragraph which we usher in the Shabbos. To tell the Hashem is straight and there's justice. I know deeply in my heart that all the pain, all the anguish. There were eulogies and there shivers and there are times of mourning when people utter platitudes and cliches. And then it's bad for the person who passed away because they're not true. But I promise you, I'm wrong. That everything that you will hear this week is true, is real. And I promise all of you your hearts are ripped and torn into shreds today at the loss of the physical Sharon Shenker, it's not a cliche to say that she would want us to leave here and change people with a bit of her in each one of us. There are big Torah scholars in this room today, and I know that this is not a normal eulogy, but Sharon God taught us all so much, and that we leave here reading those WhatsApp groups and learning about Sharon Shenker and becoming greater people. But Hashem, our life should be different, not in a cliche, not a platitude, but we should take us forward with a little bit of Shen Aliyah in each one of us. Bila, honest. לעבוד את הרצח, רוב חשב וקידו ביעוק ותחולים, וחד עזר ויוסי ביעוק הלורץ כי השם גיבר.
When his Rabbi Shenker to speak, had the whole children.
Yesterday, my grandmother came over and had us a quote someone had written that we felt summed up my mother pretty well. The busiest people always have time for others. As we all know, my mother greatly impacted many people and loved everyone she interacted with. She made time to make all these people feel cared for, even if this may have made her very busy at times. One of the things that stands out the most as our children is how she was always present for us. We could always count on her waiting to greet us and how our day was when and ask how our day was when we came home. Her devotion to us was incredible. She was always available to play a game, sit down for a tea, or go out for ice cream. Anytime my mother taught a class in Calabasas while I was in yeshiva there, she would come visit me, even if it was 11 p.m. and still had to drive home. She wanted to have that quality time, no matter the inconvenience, because to her, nothing was an inconvenience if it meant spending time with her family. We have endless memories of her sitting on the floor playing games and doing projects. One of our favorite games to play together was shoe store. So the bed would come out and all the shoes went underneath. My mother, with her endless patience and creativity, would be the customer buying the shoes. We played this game week after week. She made it clear that the family was the most important to her. We had a given in our house. Guests are welcome in any quantity at any time, aside from the first night of Yom Tov. This time was given to the children to show off what we had learned and to simply spend time with each other. She was all of our biggest admirers, proud of every achievement no matter the category. If it was important to us, it was important to her. This past summer, a little while after the diagnosis, my brother finished ninth grade and completed it with a CM. My mother attached a TPN and intravenous painkillers, made sure she showed up for him. She knew he wanted her there, so she made it happen. My mother's last prayer was clear to us, not because she told us so, but because it was given from how she acted. Years ago, our father ran a morning hill. It was part of our schedule every Friday to get up earlier and make chocolate chip pancakes that we would drop off at shul for their breakfast. This was her way of encouraging and showing support to my father and everyone else learning Torah. And of course, we would get an amazing mitzvah out of it. Towards the end of her life, how deeply ingrained her Ahavas Torah was became even more profound. Side effects of the medications made my mother confused and forgetful, but she somehow always remembered to say brachos on food and wash her hands for bread. She would spend hours trying to daven Shenkers, falling asleep in the middle or losing her place. Torah was a part of her and nothing could take this away. She imbued this love in everyone she met.
Yes, Motti to share words. Talk about the Torah, remember the Siyam at the Hondo. Unbelievable simcha. Sharon had the Motti in simchas. Made unbelievably beautiful Suda. It's an incredible partnership. It's an incredible partnership. Sharon Shenker, talk about Motti Shenker. Motti Shenker. Last few months, unbelievable. Didn't miss a daf, didn't miss a minute. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Each has a real guess over your market. It's my people.
It was May 12th, 2022. It's around 45th birthday. We got the diagnosis. Say the world started to crumble. And finally crash. I want to talk about the pain and about the joy. About Sharon's pain, Sharon's joy.
the physical pain, the hidden pain, the pain of pregnancy, 6 months, not being able to walk, being able to sit, being able to stand. The pain of not being able to be pregnant. The pain of being pregnant and losing pregnancies. The hidden back pain. Years of pain. The Crohn's, the debilities in Crohn's. The pain of that taken away from everything. And the pain of the cancer. But never a question, never a doubt, never a why. Sharon would tell the children when they were squabbling over who got the biggest piece of cake, you get what you get, and you don't get upset. I think Chazal would say, love Hashem with your heart, with your soul. Everything that He gives to you. Nothing takes away from the Abbas Hashem. It's never a problem. There was another pain. The pain of the Jewish people. The pain of the disconnected Jewish people. I've been waiting, or was waiting, 20 years, the right time for this story. I told the children it'd be a story they never heard. Back when I was a Bachner, story within a story, back when I was a Bachner in yeshiva, as far as I hope I remember this correctly, on Rosh Hashanah, Rav Noach Weinberg would tell a story that when he first started Eish Torah in Jerusalem, there was only a handful of men in the yeshiva. And they didn't even have their own services on Rosh Hashanah. So they would go to the Mir Yeshiva in Jerusalem. I don't know who it was that spoke. But someone said was the effect of anyone who's never cried, anyone who's never cried over the Jewish people doesn't have a place here. 2002, 2003 probably, we just moved to Mill Hill in London. And the shul where we were working asked us to go out to a new housing development, new housing estate. Apparently there was a lot of Jews. They want to know if it was worth doing outreach to that new estate. We went and we drove around. We counted mezuzahs. This is and Sharon cried. And she cried. How could there be so many people so disconnected? And she cried for the Jewish people. She cried for the Almighty's pain. Then there's the joy, the tremendous joy, the joy she had. The joy she had teaching, being creative. The joy she had in giving, in helping other people. If someone needed it, she would do it. Someone needed help. That's all she wanted to do. During COVID, she heard of a couple getting married, and everything was shut. No one was doing hair, no one was doing makeup. But Sharon made it her mission to get the bride everything she needed. She heard someone's going to be in Rome for Shabbos. Rome, Italy for Shabbos. She found them the Shabbos meal. The joy in helping other people. The joy of mitzvahs. The joy in every mitzvah, every yontif. The joy of sitting in the sukkah, of painting the sukkah. That's such a joy. The joy of connecting people with their Judaism. The joy of making people feel good about themselves. And very recently, I don't know where we were. I don't remember. She gave a compliment to a random stranger in the street. And she said, if you think something nice about someone, tell them. So they can also feel good. The joy in making other people feel good. But the biggest pain and the biggest joy, no doubt, at 5 presses and showers. The pain that mommy would feel. The pain of not being able to do more. The pain of not being there more. The pain of not knowing how to give better. The pain of missing dinners because she was preparing a class, missing bedtime because she was teaching or had clients. The pain of having to work so hard to earn money, take it away from the family. And the biggest joy, everything that you did, every step, every word, that's the biggest joy. I also wrote about the shoe game. Every Shabbos, pull out the beds, every shoe in the house ended up onto the bed, the shoe store. The years she waited to see Lior in seminary, 11, 12 years going to Israel every year. Oh, I can't wait till I see Lior in seminary. The joy of teaching Harry to drive, visiting Calabasas. The joy of watching Naftali flourish in high school. The joy of Baylor's inquisitivity. The joy of Avram's joy is just joy. To talk about what I've lost is not time. Over here, for Sharon. Let's appreciate what she gave to all of us, to everyone, to the Rosh Hashanah. Let's appreciate it.
which we no longer be able to give.
Yes, but Shukran, maybe Tali just to say the Kel Male, stand up.
Hey, Mother Achamim, Shoyfei, Maribim. I'm saying to Fana Foina, Al Kampei, Hashkina. The Malloy is Kidoshim Toirim, Kizoyar Harakia Matsivim. Es Nishmas, Shein Aliyah Bas, Abram Zora, Es Yehuda Zora, Shol Pol Ilmo. Bavur Shalachnu Mispalvi Biad Haskoros Nishmosto. Began Aiden to Heminu Fosol, Hey, Balarachamim, Yasti Reb, Caesar, Knopov, Lilobim. Vitzor Betzorachim es Nishmosto, Adonai Hu Nachaloso. Visanuach Bisholoi Mal Mishkopo, Noimar Omein.
Flora will be at Home of Peace, 4334 Whittier Boulevard. We're going to be walking on Pico 1 block to Malava de Aron. Shiva will be at 8859 Alcott Street. Mincha today is 4:55 during the week, and Shacharis at 6:30.
Yeah. So right now, we'll go out on Pico. We're going to escort Sharon and escort her. There's a big mitzvah of Havayas HaMeis, escorting the one that passed away. So even those that are not going to the cemetery should go with us together. We'll walk that block together. We'll wait a few moments. Everybody can collect and go outside. And then we'll do that tremendous mitzvah. The link for the fund is on the YouTube and on the WhatsApps.
Who's taking? You don't know.
She moved down a little bit. Like that.
If you go into the cemetery, please start heading to the Homaki Cemetery. We only have enough space for a few cars to fall behind, or else they won't get lost. Again, if you're a close family, you're welcome to fall behind. Everyone else, please meet us at the cemetery.
Shiva Minyanim will start today at 4:55. Will be Mincha, 88:59 Alcott, and that will be Mincha followed by a short break, and then Ma'ariv, and then the morning will be 6:30 a.m. will be Shachris. At 88:59 it will be a Nate's Minyan, as is appropriate for Rabbi Motti.
Someone took it.